Hi, and welcome to an introduction to what we're going to be working on in paper number two. Paper number two we could think of as a creative research project into why we work that focuses on a dream career, not necessarily a realistic or actual plan, but a dream career that interests you. That career then becomes a focal point for an investigation of and discussion of the reasons that we work and the skills that we need to do that work. So here's a project overview. You're going to start off, and I want you thinking about this as we go through this PowerPoint, by selecting a dream career. What's something that you would just love to do? And you're not going to think realistically about it. Just what would be the coolest thing you could do as a career? The kind of thing that would just you just love to do. You'd look forward to going to work every day without regard to whether you actually have the skills you need to do this or whether you can afford to get the training or whatever. Just dream a bit. Then you're going to research that career using Career Center, library, and web resources to explore who's doing it, what's out there, and answer two questions. Why do people in the career I've chosen, the dream career I've chosen, do this work? And which specific skills from Miracosta's general education outcomes, and you can find those on page 4 of the syllabus, do people in this dream career use, and how do they use them? So it's a very good idea to have that page 4 of the syllabus out as you work on this project. And when we talk about the general outcomes, we're talking about the specific skills listed under each category on that page. So you're going to start off by selecting a dream career. I want you to dream big. I don't want you to worry about what's possible. I want you to think about what you would love to do. But there's one qualification on that. The job has to actually exist. It can't be something you construct entirely from your imagination. It has to be something that's out there because ultimately this is a research paper and you can't research a job that doesn't exist. So you can dream, but for now you're going to have to dream within the realities of what exists out there. Hopefully you'll discover by the end of this course that creating new possibilities that don't even exist is a wonderful way to think about your career, but it won't work for a research project. So the question you might want to ask is, if you had any skills and all the resources you needed to prepare for it, what would one dream career be for you? So here's two examples for me. I'm obviously a college teacher and I enjoy my work, but like anyone else, I dream sometimes about job possibilities. And I have two. One is I spent a year volunteering in Peru, actually almost 2 years, year and a half, when I first graduated from college. And ever since then, I've wanted to be back there and go back there because it was an amazing experience. But I left because I didn't feel I had the skills necessary to really contribute something. And so I've always fantasized about getting an MD degree and going back to some place like La Victoria, Peru, which is where I was, where there was no electricity, where there was no running water, where people were living in abject poverty and dealing with all sorts of social and health problems, and just be a doctor, live in that community and be a family general practitioner, providing services to that community and the communities around it, to the poorest people in the toughest situations. That's one dream job I've had. Now, obviously, if I go to a career center website and type in family doctor in La Victoria, Peru, I'm not going to find anything. But I might find lots of stuff if I look up family doctors or general practitioner, or if I look up doctors who serve abroad, international service and medicine, or even things like Doctors Without Borders. So I'm going to have to be creative in my research, but there's stuff out there I could explore. The other thing I've always thought about doing is becoming a housing advocacy lawyer, where I would get a law degree and I would use those skills to help poor people deal with landlords and renters, and also work with poor people to help them find, purchase, and wisely manage new homes. Because I think the housing situation in our country is so important to families and the emergence of a middle class. So those are like two dream scenarios I have. Both are standard careers, right? Medicine, law, but I've tweaked them by having particular circumstances that I want to pursue. There's a good chance that those particular circumstances are going to make my research a little more challenging, and I'm going to have to think about how to use general research about being doctors and lawyers and research about housing or international service and kind of mixing them together to explore the possibilities. That's why I talk about this project as a creative research project. Once you have picked a career, actually I'd like you to pick three dream careers, I'd then like you to get out there and start exploring. With the understanding that you might have to generalize some of your versions or kind of connect different dots and ideas about dream careers together through multiple research paths. As I just talked about, I could pursue for my first option the doctor, information about becoming a doctor, but also information about international aid work, say, and working with those two, pull something together. So you want to be prepared to generalize, and you also want to be prepared to switch. If there's nothing about the career that you've come up with as a dream, it's a research paper, so you've got to have something to work with. And often you might not find anything in one source, but by the time you get to the third, you'll be in good shape. And finally, as you're going through things, document everything. Write down all the citation information you can get for everything you're doing, so that if you use the sources in the paper, you have the documentation you need. Also, write down key quotes that interest you, because those could be things that segue into your paper. And finally, most importantly, remember our mission. Why do people in this career work? Which general education outcome skills are they using and how? If you keep these things in mind, you'll be ready for the next step. What you're going to see happening is for our next class meeting, I'm going to be asking you to visit our college career center online. All the resources are there online, and see what you can find there and write a summary of and an MLA source collection of the resources that you've encountered. And then the class after that, we're going to look at library and web research. And finally, we'll then begin drafting the paper. And we'll have a couple weeks to draft the paper, during that time you're drafting, you'll probably go back and revisit and refine your research, because research works that way. So I hope this quick video is giving you a sense of what our next project is going to be and what the key steps are going to be. As you move on, you're going to see that the first thing we're going to do is Career Center research, and from that moving on to library and web and drafting your paper. Thanks a lot. See you as we work on this project together.